everybody, welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. You better like this video or dislike it. It doesn't really matter. You better post a comment and you better subscribe to my channel because I need at least 1,000 subscribers and then I can make money. So please subscribe. I know it's hard to click the button. Anyway, I recently got an email from one of my clients who I don't charge anything for to answer questions and make live videos for you. And from what I got, he basically has a couple different investment accounts spread around. He's got, some here, some there. And he asked about compound interest. And his main question was, if I have 2 or 3 different accounts, is it better to consolidate them into one? And will that actually compound faster? Or will they all compound equally at a total rate over time? So I just want to clarify that if you have 2 different accounts that, let's say you have 5,000 in each account, and then you have another account that has 10,000, assuming they have the same growth rates, they're going to compound at the same total rate. It doesn't matter how much you splice and dice it. The compounding always works out in the end. Now, if you're totally freaking confused, I actually made an Excel sheet. So let's go check it out. So in this example, I have 2 different investments. I have a compound interest investment that has 2 mutual funds on the left, and then I have an investment that has 1 fund on the right. Now, on the left with the 2 funds, we have Fund 1 that has $5,000 in it, and we have Fund 2, which also has $5,000 in it. Now, you compare that to the 1 fund, we have Fund 1 with $10,000 and Fund 2 with $0. So it's the same amount overall. You have $10,000 on the left. You just split it between 2 funds. And you have $10,000 on the right. Same thing. Now, you may be wondering, well, if they're split up, they might not compound the same as if you put it all together. But that's not true. And I actually literally did the math for you. Now, if you don't know what compound interest is, it's basically interest on interest. Now, there's simple interest where you get a fixed amount every month or year or whatever. You can think of like your savings account. Well, I guess that compounds too. Or like a bond. A bond pays the same amount every single 6 months or a year. And if you don't reinvest it, you're getting simple interest. You get the same fixed amount every single payment. Now, compound interest, let's say you have a month and you get paid interest. Well, if you keep that interest that you got paid in that interest-bearing account, in the next month, the interest is calculated on your initial investment plus the interest that you earned. So over time, it starts to build and build and build faster and faster and faster because you're earning money on the interest. Now, I did the formula here, and you need a couple components to calculate the formula. You need the beginning balance. You need the time. It could be years. It could be months. It's basically the number of periods in the equation. And then you have the growth rate. Now, I used annual here, but you can use quarterly. You can use biannually. You can use whatever you want. It's all the same formula. And then down here, I have the future value. So if you invest $5,000 in Fund 1 and $5,000 in Fund 2, and it sits there for 10 years, assuming there's no fees or taxes you have to pay, and assuming you get a 10% rate of return, which is the historic average of the market, after 10 years, you'll have $25,937. Now, what is the formula? I did a bunch of Excel crap here. But basically, you take the beginning balance, the 5,000, times 1 plus the growth rate, so 1 plus 10%, and then you take it to whatever power it is. In this case, it's the 10th power. So it's the 5,000 times 1 plus the growth rate, the growth percentage, to the number of years power, which is 10 years. So you can actually plug and play with this. Let's say the time period is 20 years. Boom, changes to 67,275. 50 years, 1 million. Wow. Or you can change the growth rate. Let's say the growth rate is 20%. Jesus, I didn't mean to do it. What the hell is wrong with this? There we go. So you can see you can play around with the formula. You can change this to 6,000. It's all the same thing. It's all the same formula. And if you want me to publish the formula, I'll send it to you. You can send me an email, okay? But it's actually not a very complex formula to calculate compound interest. So in this example, you got 10% growth rate on the left and 10% on the right. And if I copy over the exact same formula, you literally get the same value, 25,937. So I just proved that if you have a bunch of different accounts and you're thinking about consolidating them because you think it'll compound faster because it's a bigger number, it's actually not the case. They compound at the same rate, assuming you don't pay, different taxes here and different taxes there. So that's basically it. And I can even upload this, I guess, on a future video. You can use this to like plug and play. Like let's say, let's see the difference between a 10% growth rate and a 12% growth rate. So if you have a 10% growth rate, on the left, you have 25,000. On the right, you have 31,000. Now, if you double the growth rate, you probably think that you would just double the left side and you would get the growth rate on the right. But because your growth rate, even though it's double the percentage, it's going to grow faster because you're having higher rates of compounding. So even a slight increase in your rate of return can significantly increase your wealth. Like let's say let's look at this over 30 years. If you have a 30 or 10% growth rate after 30 years on 10,000, you're going to have $174,000. But if you have a 20% rate, you're going to have $2,373,763. That is a massive difference. Now, don't think you're going to get 20%, okay, compounded every year. But if you can somehow pull that off, if you're a genius, like I think Warren Buffett maybe got 20%, you can have massively higher returns. So returns are important, which is why you want to mostly invest in stocks when you're young. Because let's say you invest in bonds. You have 3% on the left. Wow. After 30 years, $10,000 becomes $24,000. Whereas if you invest in the stock market and there's a historic rate of return of 10%, you have $174,000, okay? And interest rates are low with bonds now. So bonds are like, what, 1.5? Wow. After 30 years, $10,000 would become $15,000. Or you can invest in stocks and have $174,000. That's the magic of compounding. So don't invest in bonds when you're young or keep it as a small percentage. But that's basically it. It doesn't matter. You can have 5,000 here, 5,000 here, and then you could have 10,000 over here, but they're all going to grow and compound at the same rate, assuming you have the same rate of return. That's it. Hopefully I clarified your question. And if it doesn't make sense, you can always send me another email. Anyway, like, subscribe, post a comment, send me an email if you have any questions, and I'll make a live video for you. Talk to you later.